In this series of videos, we're going to take you through a strength and conditioning program for runners. The point or the idea of this is to bomb-proof your body, so prevent injuries and also improve performance by strengthening certain muscles. A lot of it will focus on knee or leg stabilization, so a lot of it will be core work, it will be glute work, and it will be leg work as well. If you've never done strength and conditioning before, this first video is going to be perfect for you. If you have, or if you've done this video before, then you can move on to subsequent videos and it'll all be labelled so you know which one to be doing. Each video will progress in terms of the movements that you're doing, how many you're doing of them, and it will advance into things like some of the plyometric stuff in the more advanced stages. So here we go with this first video. First exercise we're going to do is going to be a squat. So to do this, we're going to go feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart, slightly externally rotating with our legs, so our feet are slightly pointing out. From there, we're going to go hands out in front of us just to keep our body nice and strong and stable. Core tight, nice and slowly down into the squat. I'm keeping my knees nice and strong and stable. I don't want my knees to collapse in. I want to use my glutes, keep my legs out, and give a nice big squeeze with your glutes and your quads as you come up. And we're going to do 5 reps. For 3 sets. If you struggle with the squat movement to start with, you can use a box and do a squat onto a box. So same position to start with, and all you're going to do is squat down onto the box and then stand yourself back up. You can progress that by going onto a lower box until you're happy that you can get deep into the squat. So again, 5 reps for 3 sets. So we've done 1 set. And then in between these, so once we've finished a set, we're going to go into reverse lunges. So to do this, starting with our feet together, and then we're just going to drop one back. The knee isn't going to touch the floor, and then we're going to come back up. Again, my knee is staying strong and stable. So if I show you from this angle, I don't want my knee to collapse in like that. I want to use my glutes and my quads to push it up to make it a stronger movement. So again, I'm going to go down, and my knee is going to go down over my toe, and it's going to stay that way when I come up. Okay, so I'm not going down, collapsing in. Don't want to do that. Down, keep the knee strong, and out. Again, we're going to go for 5 reps on each side. So again, slow on the down phase, strong on the up phase, and a nice squeeze in my quad and my glute on the way up. 5 on each side. Again, knee not touching the floor, left knee staying strong and stable. You might find it's easier to do this on one side compared to the other, and that's a good way of finding muscle imbalances. By doing single leg activities, we'll be addressing those imbalances as well. Once we've done a set on the lunges, we can then go back to our squats. So 5 reps in squats, 5 on each leg of the lunges. Keep swapping through until we've done 3 sets on each. Again, good form throughout. If you feel like your body is starting to fatigue a little bit, give yourself a little rest. You're better off doing correct form with a rest in between than you are struggling through. So again, 5 on those, knees nice and strong, and then back to our lunges. I'm doing all of these with my shoes off, and I'm doing that on purpose, so I want my foot to be working to stabilize my leg as well. I'm keeping my core and my upper body nice and tight throughout this as well, so I don't want my body to be coming down forward like that, staying nice and upright. By keeping my core and my psoas tight, that's allowing me to engage my glutes properly. So last set through each. Important to keep breathing throughout, so we want to keep supplying the muscles with oxygen as we go. Just using my arms a little bit, just to maintain my balance. And you should be starting to feel a little bit of a burn and a little bit of fatigue in your quads and in your glutes. If you're not feeling in your glutes, you're probably not engaging them properly. So make sure that knee is staying out and really squeeze with your glutes when you all throughout the movement. Okay. The next set of exercises we're going to do is going to be focusing on the calves. So to start with in this video, it's going to be simple calf raises. So our feet are going to be shoulder width apart, and then we're going to nice and slowly go up into a calf raise. For now, we're just doing it on a flat surface, and there's a little pause at the top just to get a squeeze. If you're struggling to find your balance when you do this, do it next to a wall just to give you a bit of guidance. And again, we're going to go 5 reps, 3 sets. Shake your legs out in between, just go into a bit of a squat just to give them a little stretch. And then off we go again. Slow on the way up, as well as the way down, and a nice big squeeze at the top. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice workout for the foot as well, which again is why I'm doing it barefoot. So again, just give those a little bit of a stretch, and then into our last set. A really big squeeze at the top, and you can pause at the top as well. Okay, from there, we're then going to go down onto the floor. We're going to lie ourselves back with our knees up, and then we're going to, so working on our glutes, so 2 variations of a glute bridge. So to start with, just to make sure we are engaging our glutes, we're going to laterally rotate our legs outwards like that. So feet together and knees dropping down. This stops us using our hamstrings and make sure that we're focusing on using our glutes. From there, keep your core nice and tight, squeeze your glutes and push your hips up. And you're aiming for a straight line with your body here, so you don't want your glutes to be lagging. You want to squeeze into a straight line. Relax the core off, and then squeeze the core and lift. Keep breathing throughout. And again, we're going for 5 reps, 3 sets on each variation, and I'll show you the second now. Again, you should feel that in your glutes, so a nice little burn when you get to the top. The second one is the more traditional glute bridge, so we're going to go feet flat on the floor, knees shoulder width apart, and then we're going to just slightly move our knees out as we squeeze up. And same process, keep the core tight and really big squeeze with those glutes. You should feel this more in your glutes than you feel it in your hamstring and your lower back. Again, relax the core, squeeze the core. The point in relaxing it is that you're getting control of that psoas muscle. So if you get lower back pains or you get hamstring tendinopathy when you're running, the chances are you're not engaging your core and your glutes correctly. So 5 of those, and back, feet together, knees out, and 5 more. Again, feeling the burn in the glutes, core a little bit as well. So feet on the floor, knees slightly out and up. Core tight, keep the core squeezed. And then back, last set. Glutes are a huge, huge muscle. Really should be utilizing them when we run, especially if we're trying to run a little bit faster. So again, people who do struggle with hamstring tendinopathy tend to find it kicks in more when they're running quick, and that's because our glutes should be doing more work. If you think of sprinters or short distance runners, they have very, very big and powerful glutes. So we need to be utilizing them. And then last set. Three more. Again, glutes should become a little bit fatigued now. We should start to feel the burn. Hamstrings should feel okay. Core should feel a little bit tired, but not too bad. And our lower back shouldn't be feeling stressed. So work from the glutes. Okay. From here, we're then going to focus more on the core, and again, looking at that psoas muscle to get our pelvis and our hips to engage correctly. So we're going to go into what's called shoulder taps. So if I show you from the front to start with, we're going to go into the press-up position, and we're just going to gently bring our hands up and touch our opposite shoulder. The key here is to focus on your core, so you don't want your core to have to adapt to the movement. You're going to keep your core tight and not moving your hips, so keep your hips level as we do this. We're going to go for 5 reps on each arm, so which is going to be 10 in total, and again, it's going to be 3 sets with a rest in between each set. So nice and solid with the core. Slow movements, you're not trying to rush the taps. You're allowing your core to kick in and adapt to the movement. Ten reps, and then have a little relax between sets. You should be feeling this in your abs, in your hip flexors, and a little bit in your lower back as well. Your arms and upper body are working a little bit too. So into our second set. So again, get your core nice and tight, and then off we go. If you feel you start to fatigue halfway through and your core is moving too much, take a little rest. You're better off again doing proper, correct form reps rather than doing it all at once but not doing them correctly. The idea is to get your brain to work your core, so you don't want it to fail because it's fatigued. Little rest between. Keep breathing throughout, get the oxygen to your muscles. And then here we go for our last set on these. And relax down. The more you do that, the better you become. You'll feel that there's less movement in your hips each time. So that core really is kicking in and becoming a lot stronger. From the next exercise, we're going to be in the same position. And we're going to focus a little bit more on lower body and again on those hip flexors, which is so important. So up into the press-up position. This time we want to drop our glutes a little bit lower, engage the core, and then we're just going to bring our legs up one at a time. Try and keep your leg off the floor the whole way up. Really engage the core, squeeze tight, engage those hip flexors. Again, we're going for 5 reps on each leg, 10 in total. Try not to let your glutes creep up, so you don't want to end up in that position. You want to keep your glutes down. And again, rest off. You should also be still feeling this in your abs. You should start to feel this on your hip flexors a little bit more. So just top of the legs are working, also glutes having to squeeze and keep that position nice and tight. So here we go again. Glutes down, squeeze your core. Same thing with your hips, try and keep your hips nice and level. 7. And relax off. Almost like swimming with your breathing, so try and either breathe every stroke or every other. So every time your leg comes up or every time your right leg comes up, take a breath. Last set. And relax down. The next exercise we're going to go into is a side plank. So again, we're focusing around the core. We're trying to get our glutes to kick in as well. Things like obliques and QLs, this is really good for too. So to go into the side plank, lie onto our sides. So on the side of our foot, onto our elbow here. And we want to keep, again, our body in a nice straight line. So really engage the core to do that. And then to start with, we're just going to hold this for 5 seconds on each side. If you feel like you can go for 10 seconds, then great. But as a starter, again, correct form over length or endurance of time you're doing it. So here we go. Up and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, straight line here, so I don't want to drop down. I want to keep that nice and firm so body in a straight line. 5 seconds on that side, swap over, same position, and again, push yourselves up, straight line, arm up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax down. Onto our left. And if you need a bit more of a rest in between, then fine. Try and increase the time we're doing it for. So this is just to get the movement right, and then try and go for 10 seconds each time with a longer rest. And then up we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You might find this easier on one side compared to the other. Again, if you have muscle imbalances around your core and your hips, especially if you sit or drive a lot. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then last set, so again, 5 seconds, 3 sets on each side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And last one on this side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, the last exercise we're going to do, we're going to focus on, again, our lower legs, so our calves. So into a downward dog position, and just give them a little stretch off. Each time we do that, just walk a little bit closer towards our hands, move that stretch up the posterior chain. And then from there, we're going to go into plantar flexion and dorsiflexion walking, or tiptoe and heel walking. So the first one is going to be plantar flexion, so I'm going to go up onto my toes, and then I'm just going to walk across the mat. I'm doing this very slow, I'm in control of the movement, and I'm going to go backwards as well. And I should feel this in my gastrocnemius or in my calves and soleus. So I'm not stumbling around, I'm very much in control of the movement. I'm going to go out and back on my toes, and then I'm going to go into dorsiflexion. I'm going to go out and back on my heels. A little bit harder to find your balance, this one. Again, if you need to do this initially holding on or just using the wall as a guide, then do, and try and progress that out as you become better. For this one, you should feel that on the front of your calf, so your tibialis anterior, you should feel working quite hard. And again, 3 sets on each side. The slower and the more controlled you can do this, the better. And again, we're really trying to focus on the muscles that engage our ankle when we land each time on running. If you think of how many times your foot is going to be striking the floor on a run, there's going to be a lot of stress and impact going through these muscles. Things like plantar fasciitis and shin splints are quite common because of that impact. So this is a really good exercise to counteract those, prevent injuries rather than treat them. So last set on each. Again, you should be able to feel the muscles starting to burn, becoming a little bit fatigued. Really squeeze to go high up onto your tiptoes. And then really point your toes as much as you can on this one. You don't want the ball of your foot to be anywhere near the floor. Okay, and that is done for our first video. You should be able to feel a little bit of burn around your core and your legs, a little bit in your glutes and your calves, especially after doing that last one. It shouldn't hurt at all, so you shouldn't be getting any pains from that. You should just be getting the fatigue burning. If you can try and do this initially 2 to 3 times a week, and then as you progress, you can add in a 3rd or a 4th day doing it. I wouldn't do it before or after a run, so you want your muscles to be relatively fresh before you do this. You can do it on a day that you do run, just give it a little bit of a gap in between. Once you're happy with that and feel like you're really comfortable, then you can then move on to our second video where we progress things a little bit more. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed that. I hope you find that beneficial. It will prevent little niggly injuries, and it will also make you or help you run faster. Do check out our other videos. So again, if you want to progress through this series, we also have stuff around plyometrics coming at you as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll be in touch soon.